friends, for those who are new here, I'm Tanya Rose Jacob. When we are considering the genus Neisseria, two species are pathogenic to man, Neisseria meningitidis and Neisseria gonorrhoeae. We already discussed about Neisseria meningitidis in the previous video. So in this video, I want to talk about the Neisseria gonorrhoeae, which is also known as N. gonorrhoeae or gonococcus. It has thin peptidoglycan layer which will take the pink color on gram staining, so it's gram negative kidney shaped bacteria which is arranged in pairs. So it is arranged in pairs, so it's diplococci. It is the causative organism of gonorrhea, which is a sexually transmitted infection. It's a oval bacteria. The name gonorrhea can be split into two words, gonos and rhea. Gonos means seed and rhea means flow, the flow of seeds, which indirectly means the penile purulent discharge. These are non-motile, non-sporing, obligate aerobes, that is, it absolutely need oxygen to grow. Catalase and oxidase test positive. One property that we should remember is it is non-capsulated, whereas meningococcus is capsulated. Another method to differentiate between the meningococcus and gonococcus is maltose fermentation test. Gonococcus cannot ferment maltose, whereas meningococcus can ferment. Since the gonococcus is not an encapsulated bacteria, it has no polysaccharide capsule. Let's move on to the virulence factor. Gonococcus don't have any capsule, so capsular polysaccharide is not a virulence factor. But it is the principal virulent factor of meningococcus. Even though the gonococcus has no capsule, it has pili or fimbriae as principal virulence factor, which helps to attach the bacteria to the host and protect the bacteria from phagocytosis. This pili help the bacteria to physically connect with each other. Conjugation pili can swap genetic information including the antibiotic resistance genes. Pili is made of antigenic protein which can vary with every infection. That is, it shows phase variation. You should remember this point here. It shows the phase variation. That is, once certain bacteria cause an infection, immune cells have memory of bacterial antigenic configuration. Immune system makes specific antibiotics against the bacteria, but the gonococcus changes the antigens each time it infects. So the immune system can't produce quick response. It cannot produce quick response. So the phase variation is the reason why there is no effective vaccine against gonorrhea. The second virulence factor is outer membrane protein, which is of two types, porin protein or protein 1 and opacity associated protein or protein 2. Porin protein form transmembrane channels that exchange the molecules across the gonococcal surface, and it is of two types. POR B1A, which is associated with local and disseminated gonococcal infection, and POR B1B, which cause a local genital infection. The second outer membrane protein is opacity associated protein or protein 2, which helps in adhesion to the neutrophil and other gonococci, and it is responsible for the opaque nature of gonococcal colonies. The third virulence factor is transferrin binding and lactoferrin binding proteins, which help in uptake of iron from the transferrin and lactoferrin. The fourth virulence factor is lipo-oligosaccharide. Here, the lipo-oligosaccharide is modified, consisting of only lipid A and core oligosaccharide, but lacks the repeating O side chain, which is seen in another gram-negative bacteria. The function of lipo-oligosaccharide is it has endotoxic activity. We know that endotoxin is found in outer membrane of gram-negative bacteria. And the fifth virulent factor is IgA1 protease. This virulent factor protects the bacteria from IgA antibody present in the mucosa of the host. When we discuss about the serotyping, it is done based on porin protein, whereas oxotyping is based on nutritional requirement of the strain. The gonococcus has when we come to the pathogenesis, the gonococcus has the ability to form sialylation. That is, it wraps the lipopolysaccharide cell wall within the sialic acid, which is initially found in host cell, which in turn helps to hide the lipo-oligosaccharide antigen. It will help to hide the lipooligosaccharide antigen. The bacteria can spread from bloodstream to joints and heart. Most commonly, it can cause gonorrhea, which is a sexually transmitted infection. In males, the common manifestation is acute urethritis characterized by purulent urethral discharge and burning sensation when urinating. Infection may spread to periurethral tissues causing abscess with sinus formation, also known as water can perineum. If we kept it untreated, it can cause epididymitis, prostatitis, edema of the penis, seminal vesicleitis, and balanitis, that is the inflammation of glans penis. In females, the manifestations are less severe when compared to male, and females are asymptomatic carriers than males. In female, it's characterized by mucopurulent cervicitis and vulvovaginitis. Vulvovaginitis is not seen in adult since vagina is resistant to gonococcal infection due to low pH and thick stratified squamous epithelium there. However, gonococcal vaginitis can occur in prepubertal girls and postmenopausal women, where the vagina is lined by thin mucosa with higher pH. In females, the infection can spread to Bartholin's gland, endometrium, and fallopian tube, which cause salpingitis, pelvic inflammatory disease, and finally, it may lead to sterility. Fitzhugh-Curtis syndrome is in female is the rare, and it is characterized by peritonitis and associated perihepatic inflammation. Now we already discussed with the female and male manifestation. Next, let's see some manifestation common in both sexes. The first one is anorectal gonorrhea, which spread by anal sex, which is common in female than male, and it is present as acute proctitis, that is the inflammation of rectum and anus. The second one is pharyngeal gonorrhea, which is spread by the orogenital sex. The third one is ocular gonorrhea. In pregnant women, the gonococcal infection can result in prolonged rupture of membranes, premature delivery, sepsis in infants, and chorioamnionitis, that is the acute inflammation of membranes and chorion of the placenta. In neonates, gonococcus can cause ophthalmia neonatorium or conjunctivitis of the newborn, characterized by the purulent eye discharge within 2 to 5 days of birth. How it gets transmitted to the baby from the infected mom is it's during the birth. The bacteria transmit from the colonized maternal genital flora to the baby. Sometimes, very rarely, the gonococcal infection can spread to joints and heart, causing polyarthritis, dermatitis, and endocarditis. In HIV infected patients, the non-ulcerative gonorrhea enhances the transmission of HIV by 3 to 5 folds, possibly because of increased viral shedding. When we come to epidemiology, the incidence of gonorrhea has come down in developed countries, but still it remains as a public health problem in developing countries. Human is the main host of the gonococcus and has no animal reservoir. The source of infection is a symptomatic female who is the carrier, and less often the patients become the source of infection. How it gets transmitted? It can be transmitted by sexual contact, and it can spread from mother to baby during the birth also. For the laboratory diagnosis, we should collect the specimen first, right? The urethral swab as specimen in male and cervical swab is collected in case of female. Dacron or rayon swab are preferred than cotton and alginate swab, because the cotton and alginate are inhibitory to gonococci. In case of chronic urethritis, the discharge is minimal, so to get specimen, prostatic massage is done to collect the secretion. The specimen should be collected in charcoal coated swabs kept in stored transport medium or charcoal containing medium or amines medium. Currently, various commercial transport devices like JEMBEC or GonoPack system are available. Here, you just try to remember the term stored medium. On microscopic examination of urethral exudates on gram staining, they are gram-negative intracellular kidney-shaped diplococci, that is, they are arranged in pairs and appear pink in color on microscopy. In addition to microscopy, the culture is recommended for the diagnosis of gonorrhea in women because of the presence of other Neisseria species as commensals. The medium using here is to culture is the Thiomartin medium. This is nothing but a chocolate agar with vancomycin, colistin and nystatin. The use is to inhibit the commensal Neisseria species. Modified New York City medium and Martin Lewis medium can be used to culture gonococcus. Why we are performing the biochemical test? It is to differentiate the gonococcus from other commensal Neisseria species. Gonococcus is catalase and oxidase positive. On rapid high carbohydrate utilization test, it ferment only glucose but not maltose and sugar. How to treat the gonococcal infection is, for the treatment, both the sexual partners should be treated. Drug of choice is third generation cephalosporin like ceftriaxone, which is 250 mg single dose given intramuscularly, and cefixime, which is 400 mg given orally, only a single dose. If the coexisting chlamydial infection is present, that is, along with the gonococcal infection, if the patient have chlamydial infection also, then azithromycin or doxycycline can be added to the regimen. Next, let's discuss about the drug resistance in gonococcus. These were actually susceptible or not resistant to most of the antibiotics such as sulfonamide, penicillin, quinolones, but because of their continuous usage, resistance has emerged over time. Example of drug resistant strains are PPNG, that is penicillinase producing strains of Neisseria gonorrhoeae. How it become resistant to penicillin? Here, the plasmid which code for beta-lactamase are transferred horizontally by conjugation. CMRNG, chromosomally mediated resistant Neisseria gonorrhoeae. It showed resistance to both the penicillin and tetracycline. This resistance is due to decreased permeability of cell to antibiotics as a result of mutation at multiple sites. It is because of decreased permeability of cell to antibiotics. Next one is TRNG, that is tetracycline resistant Neisseria gonorrhoeae, which is a plasmid bond resistance. Another one is QRNG, quinolone resistant Neisseria gonorrhoeae. I already told you that third generation cephalosporin are drug of choice. Sometimes people will show reduced susceptibility due to altered penicillin binding protein 2. No vaccine is available as prophylactic measure. So the general prophylactic measure include the early detection of case, treatment of both partners, and tracing of contacts, and providing health education about safe sex practices such as use of condoms. Urethritis can be caused by bacteria other than the gonococcus, as well as some virus, fungus, parasites can cause this urethritis. This is known as non-gonococcal or non-specific urethritis, which can be also caused by bacteria like Chlamydia trachomatis, Ureaplasma urelyticum, and Mycoplasma hominis, and by viruses like herpes simplex virus, cytomegalovirus, and fungus like Candida albicans, and can be caused by parasites like Trichomonas vaginalis. It's a table that differentiates between the gonococcal urethritis and non-gonococcal urethritis. You can see it over here, and how we will differentiate is in gonococcal urethritis the urethral discharge is purulent, and in non-gonococcal urethritis it is mucus to mucopurulent. You just once go through this table, and next I will talk about how the commensal Neisseria species can be differentiated from pathogenic Neisseria species. It can be by various ways. Actually, I have not included that in slides. It's not much important, that's why. So you just listen. The normal commensal Neisseria can grow on basal media like nutrient agar and can grow at 22 degrees Celsius. And it won't grow on selective media except Neisseria lactamica. And it is not capnophilic, that is carbohydrate is not required. It ferment a number of carbohydrates. ONPG test by which the beta galactosides are positive. The some commensals are capsulated like Neisseria mucosa species, and the pigmented commensal species is Neisseria flava and Neisseria flavescens. Rod-shaped species include N. Neisseria elongata and Neisseria vieweri. And it's about today's video. If you like my video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel, and if you have any doubts, you just comment in the comment box. Thank you for watching.